Welcome to part 2 of my new video series on storytelling in your investor pitch, where we dig deeper into the telling of the founder story. These videos about fundraising for startups and putting together an investor deck should be particularly helpful for entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their business and raise the necessary capital, entrepreneurs who have been trying to raise capital but who may have hit some roadblocks and are looking to improve their prospects, and also people who may have an idea for a business and are trying to get an idea of what may lie ahead if they take the plunge. These are all short videos about a range of topics on startups and fundraising that go from broad overviews to deeper, more advanced issues for those of you who are further into your fundraising. They are completely modular, so take what you need and leave the rest. My name is Lisa Sue. I'm a startup funding strategist here in Los Angeles. I'm a longtime board member at Women Founders Network and have run the coaching program there for several years now. I'm also a mentor at other accelerators like Techstars and the Precelerator. And if I look familiar, you may have seen me featured in the Huffington Post, Business Rockstars, Startup Nation, Women 2.0. I write for a lot of publications on tech, startup financing, and women in business. And as I mentioned, this is the second in a short 3-part series on storytelling in investor decks. Part 1 was all about storytelling and was an overview of its importance in a successful investor pitch and how to incorporate it to make the best impact on investors. This video is about the importance of telling your personal story as a founder in your pitch and why it matters. And the final video in this 3-part series will be all about folding the story into telling the compelling business story, which is what makes it attractive to investors. And now that that short intro is out of the way, let's get into it. Why does your story as a founder matter to the pitch? Why is it so important to investors? And isn't the pitch really about the business of the startup? And the short answer is no. The pitch is not just about your business, as terrific as it probably is. If you talk to any active investor, they will virtually always say that when they invest in a startup, it's because they're really investing in the founder. And why? Well, because with startups, things almost never go as originally planned. Circumstances change, assumptions are wrong, new regulations come in. I talk to lots of founders, and I can assure you, not one founder I know had a contingency for a pandemic in their plans for 2020. Stuff happens. But what matters is how the team, and especially how the founders steer the ship through the many storms it's going to face. So one of the most important aspects of the pitch, maybe the most important, is showing that you are the right person to steer the ship. And telling your story is a very big part of that. And that's because if done well, telling your story conveys some really important things about you. It conveys your expertise. One founder I've worked with in the energy industry starts her pitch by talking about her years of expertise in the industry working for a variety of companies, which off the bat shows her deep understanding of the industry and the problem she's currently trying to solve for. Your story also shows your passion. In telling your story, you can show your dedication, your commitment, and your passion for what you're doing. For example, one founder I know in the aero-astro industry talks about her long-standing passion for airplanes, which dates all the way back to growing up in a tiny rural town in Texas, where she'd watch the planes fly by every day overhead. That eventually led to a long and distinguished career in the Air Force before starting her own company. So great indication of long-standing passion that led to a long career and industry expertise, which led to what she's doing now. Your story can also convey your character. By showing the challenges you've already overcome, your story shows your grit, your determination, and your character, which are all keys in the decision to back a founder. And in short, your story is a big part of the telling of your why. Why do you care about what you're doing? You know, why is that going to last through tough times? Why do you know enough to make the right decisions? And why should an investor get well invested in you, whether it's in money or in helping you in some other way? It's also a chance to develop a connection with an investor. As I mentioned in the first video, as the brain processes a story, it really can't tell the difference between the story and what's actually happening. So stories trigger real emotional response in listener, and as a result, it evokes empathy. As you tell your story, you're inviting the investor to go on your journey with you, and so they feel like they're already part of the hero's journey of building this business. It starts building a connection that hopefully you can continue to develop after the pitch is over. Now, in the next video, I'm going to get more into the business part of the story, which is how you really start getting the investor both emotionally and intellectually invested, and hopefully enough to get them financially invested in you. That definitely deserves its own video, maybe a couple of videos at some point, but definitely the next video. But if you have questions about your founder story in the meantime, I love to chat. So please feel free to send me an email or drop by my virtual office hours, which you can find on my website. I love to talk to founders and start meeting them then. Until then, friends, I look forward to speaking more.